Hey, how you doing today? It's Tumbleweed here. The good guy with the black hat. Welcome to Tumbleweed Talks. Today this is be the sixth video in a series on faith and business, and we're going to tackle a really tough one today. We're going to talk about ethics and morals and how they're linked and how we use them in business. You might be surprised, or maybe not so surprised, that only about less than 20% of the business schools around the country teach ethics of any kind. Kind of fascinating. No wonder we have some problems. But let's begin by wrapping ourselves around these terms. Um, when we mention morals, many folks think of virtue, right? Now, how many of folks out there would equate virtue to liberty and thence to freedom? Did you know that the motto, for example, of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is virtue, liberty, and independence? Yeah, interesting linkage. According to the great French political thinker and historian Alexis de Tocqueville, back in the early 1800s, commenting on the early development of the United States, he said, quote, "Freedom requires virtue, virtue requires faith, faith requires freedom, which requires virtue, and so on ad infinitum." Well, this leads us to integrity and uncompromising adherence to the lofty values, benefits, and principles that an individual or group of individuals claim to hold in life and in business. You might see integrity manifested in business core values or codes of ethics where businesses have such things. That brings us to morals and ethics. Easy to define, tough to implement. Well, let's get technical. Morals, derived from the Latin mores, deals with character or virtuous conduct. There's that virtue term again. Ethics, derived from the Latin ethos, is principles or rules of conduct. They're the underpinnings of integrity and are based upon, morals. They are inextricably linked. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. Our morals determine good or bad ethics, but conscience, derived from the Latin conscientia and scire, meaning to know with, is the glue for morals and ethics. Yeah, a little critter maybe sitting on your shoulder. You shouldn't be doing that. You've heard of that. Well, have you ever felt intuitively that something was ethical or not? Where do you find that knowledge? Parents, peers, culture, religion? Conscience is a biblical concept. Check out Acts 24:16. I always have to do my best to have a clear conscience toward God and man. That's pretty. So, morals and ethics are often severely compromised in our morally relativistic world. Why does this happen? Well, Tumbleweed here contends that high, unimpeachable, consistently applied morals and ethics are essential to our success in all aspects of life. In 1925, then President Calvin Coolidge cautioned. He said, "If we are too weak to take charge of our own morality, we shall not be strong enough to take charge of our own liberty." Wow. And being immoral and unethical can be expensive, by the way. Enron, WorldCom of the 1990s were just two modern day examples of that phenomenon. And everybody paid, not just the Enron and WorldCom employees, but there was knee-jerk legislation in response to perceived failures of securities regulations, and resulted in the famous Sarbanes-Oxley bill, the compliance with which now costs companies millions of dollars, and then later Dodd-Frank, compelling additional costs that's incurred by the companies. Do you think the companies pays it? Nah. I think it's passed on, folks. You're paying it. Okay, I've opened the door to some real-world unethical behaviors. We know that bad ethics vary in scope, subject, and place, and many can result in guilt, fines, jail, or other punishments. Think of some examples. You ever cheated on a test? Be truthful now. Have you taken performance-enhancing substances? The ones that cheat yourself, your competitors, and the public? How about stealing office supplies? Who needs that little ream of paper? Or, gee, it's only paper clips. It hurts employees, employers, and of course the consumers. How about internet and email abuse? Web surfing, emails, instant messages. Your employer owns the info that's done on a corporate computer, his computer. How about downloading music? Boy, people used to do that a lot illegally. That's cheating the artists, the creative talent. Broken promises. You ever broke a promise? You promise somebody a promotion if only, and then you don't deliver on the promotion. How about plagiarism? Just cheating yourself and authors and publishers. You're just outright taking somebody else's work and calling it your own. Espionage. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on because I've had to experience that myself. Secret data that's or trade secrets that are given away or taken. Bribes. And then there's the almighty fraud, cheating businesses, employees, and consumers. So why do these immoral and ethical things concern us? Well, we might begin with pure selfishness as a cause. Today's moral relativism is rooted in moral values having become a matter of personal opinion or private judgment rather than something grounded in objective truth. I remember a few videos earlier when I said, my son said, your utopia or mine, Dad? Well, mostly it is about our own selfishness, but immediate gratification mindset, the I, me, mine thinking of narcissistic hedonism is a big factor. But as we know, feasting on ourselves, it's a pretty sparse meal. Or perhaps it's about unfulfilled longings. We might ask, why should we care, or whether the end justifies the means? We have causal, critical, and crucial longings with their associated expectations. Are they being met? Ask yourself, how do we meet those expectations? Do we cheat, lie, steal, or do we work honestly? How does conscience then affect ethics? In any case, we know that unmet expectations weaken our resolve to do the right thing. Or it may be that we're simply weak, easy prey to be just sucked into some unethical behaviors, especially if you have no solid moral base or defense. Have you seen examples of people succumbing to unethical behavior? Was it due to low moral values? I do contend that a solid moral and ethical base is essential to our well-being. I'm just saying.